let's get this thing started here. Let's get this thing started here and have some fun. I'm your host, Watson Prene from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio, and I'm glad that you're with me on another episode, another broadcast of Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio. This is how we have fun, and this is how we try to get this show on the road, and we have fun from here. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is we are having fun in reference to talking about the non-inclusive bias, artificially intelligent news. And the reason why I share this with you is because of the fact that we've run into a situation here where it seems like the news has been biased according to a particular way, or the non-inclusive bias, or the bias is swinging to a particular way. Well, before we get into biases, before we get into artificially intelligent news, let's talk about American Pride Roasters coffee. Historically great coffee and the official coffee of Mojo5 Radio. If you want to, you can go to AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Share it out with as many people as you possibly can. One, because of the fact that their coffee is great. Their coffee is amazing. They've been with Mojo5 Radio for quite some time, and we appreciate their stick-to-itiveness. I don't know why they continue to come visit us and support us, but they do it. So please support them, or at least spend money and invest in money to understand why is it that American Pride Roasters coffee is so into all things Mojo5 Radio. Once you figure that out, you'll already be addicted to their coffee and the great flavors that can't go wrong. If you want to interact, you can go to facebook.com/Battle4Freedom. I see Amy has already joined. Thank you for being part of the program, and we go from there. Another sponsor that you can listen to, if we were going to do this the right way, that is New Life Holistic. New Life Holistic, take a listen to this here. I don't know what you've been going through, but I'm certain that you're tired of the useless systems you've been wasting on money for therapy. Contact New Life Holistics by going to newlifeholistics.com right now. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 on your first session. Biofeedback may be the one solution that can help you. Try New Life Holistics today. Try New Life Holistics today. Let them know that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and you can't go wrong doing that. So, I'm glad you enjoy the coffee. And hey, Kathy, thank you for joining and being part of the program here as well. This was a tough weekend for me. Diet was bad, and I had all kinds of complications this weekend. So I'll do my best to be as functional as possible. I know I probably look like a Mad Hatter or someone just abandoned by some Ford agencies. But trust me, I'm about 80%, 80, 90%, and I should be good. Yeah, we'll get there. But over the weekend, there was a series of stories that I was watching and I was paying attention to over the weekend. And it was interesting because one of them, my wife came up to me and she showed it to me yesterday. She's like, "Have you seen this one?" And as I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? That's pretty interesting because I saw the same exact article, but I didn't think really much of it. And then it made me go back and start thinking about a wide variety of different things. I'm again, okay, so Heidi, thank you for joining. One of the things that I want to think about here is as we go into this and we start talking about this, right, is this idea that we have allowed ourselves to become, desensitized to the horrible decisions that we've made. And it's not just us, it's everyone. Okay, so we already know that there's a bias. I saw this on Fox News last night. It was just a video talking about this. It was on YouTube. But the whole idea is in the whole weekend, none of the major networks talked about the assassination attempt on Brett Kavanaugh. And it's like, of course they're not going to talk about the assassination attempt because of the fact that right now, gun violence, racism, fossil fuels, climate change. These are the big critical things that we have to worry about. Non-inclusiveness, as we are in Pride Month, and anything that's not LGBTQ friendly. Those are the biggest threats that we must worry about in society. And here's my thing about it is that you don't have to be. And I know this is going to be taken wrong. You don't have to be LGBT friendly. You don't have to be black friendly. You don't have to be female friendly. You just need to be friendly. Why does it have to be preceded by some adjective? Why don't we just love everyone? I think it was Aaron Barker. He had a meme yesterday where he says that you shall love people. Not because of their from the breakdown. Aaron Barker from the breakdown. I saw this yesterday. He showed a passage. I think it might have been from Romans chapter 12. And it just showed the whole idea. It had all these check boxes about all these different groups that you could sit there and you can love. And he ignored all of them, and he went down to the last category, human. Love them because they're human. Thank you, Josh and Jill. Thank you for joining and being part of the program, and Linda as well. So as you sit here and you watch this thing, and it's like, so why in the world are they so fixated? Why are they so fixated with these biases? But they yet tell you don't be biased, don't be discriminating. Although since February, we have had nothing but information bias, cultural biases. Black History Month, Women's Month, Latino Month, Asian Month, and now we're in Pride Month. I mean, literally everything that we do in society is based on a bias, but we're telling people, and we condemn them for any biases or having choices or selections or preferences. Culture as a society has made this month, Pride Month, a bias against all things non-LGBTQ. So how in the world do we find ourselves able to function and love everyone and accept everyone for who they are if we literally put all of our energy into excluding certain segments of society because we deem one month more critical than the other to recognize people for who they are? Is it me? Am I the only one who's missing this? Am I the only one who's missing this? But as we sit here and we look at this, there's a reason for this. There's a reason for this. And when my wife showed it to me, and I really didn't want to think about it at the time when she initially showed it to me, but here's one I saw. And again, I don't have many images for you, but these are some of the different things that I had seen yesterday. This is on Daily Mail. Cops bust 31 members of white supremacy group Patriot Front before planned riot at Pride event. Now, let's say that this situation is true and you bust this. Fine, okay. So why in 2 years of the Summer of Love and ever since 2014, why is it since 2014 there's never been cops busting up planned riots by Black Lives Matter or Antifa? Huh? Why is it that we never had this? What was it last week? I think it was in Wisconsin. There was an what is it called? There was an abortion clinic bombing, and on the Daily Mail article, it said pro-life group targets and burns down abortion clinic or graffiti. Yeah, there's active video of an pro-life supporter trying to burn down an abortion clinic. They had a mask on. There's nothing identifying about the individual that said that they were pro-life. But the person in the article had already went through the bias that, oh, this had to be a pro-life person who did this because they're the only ones who were violent enough to burn down stuff. Not like we didn't have reports of blacks putting the NIGGER on their rooms or on their cars or on their homes and their garages and everything like that. Not like we haven't had staged acts of racism by the alleged victims to make it to perpetrate. Not like we didn't have a failed actor try to make it seem like two MAGA supporters jumped him in the middle of the night after leaving Subways. But all of a sudden, this bias is out there that we know without the shadow of a doubt that it was MAGA supporters. It was pro-life individuals who did this. And it's very sad because of the fact that we know there's a clear bias. We're not going to talk about this. We're not going to talk about the assassination attempts. We're not going to talk about the statistics in the black community. More blacks are killed by blacks. Undeniable statistics. We can't talk about that. And it's a non-inclusive bias. And again, when I say artificially intelligent news, it's in two phases. The first phase is that you literally are basically acting as though you have some form of intelligence that is driving your rationale. And me telling you it doesn't exist. Jar Jar Binks has a higher IQ than you if you really are going to believe the narratives that have been pushed onto you by the media. And that's saying a lot. And actually, that's an insult. That's an insult to Jar Jar Binks because of the fact that, he's a lot more intelligent than you if you can't put things together. Hey, Jamie, thank you for joining. Jamie, she's part of the two-man crew of the two-person crew. Sorry. Two-person crew of Ain't You a Peach. You can catch them on the weekends. She's all female and Lep's all male. Yeah, sorry. My brain will kick in a second here. But as we sit here and we watch this thing, and it's just very interesting. They never busted Antifa. They never busted Antifa nor Black Lives Matter on the things that they were doing. I'm saving that for later. Okay, here's another one. Bias. 1 in 10 Google searches results for abortion services lead to fake clinics in trigger law states. This doesn't even make sense. The study was conducted by the Center for Countering Digital Hate, CCDH, a British nonprofit. The campaigners made Google searches using Chrome browser extension to change their digital location to 13 so-called trigger law states. These are the states that have passed laws which effectively ban abortions as soon as Roe v. Wade court decision of 1973 is overturned. Types of search results that yielded anti-abortion clinics. During the case of Roe v. Wade, 1973, the Supreme Court ruled that the Constitution in the United States will protect a woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. However, last month, a leaked initial draft opinion revealed that the United States Supreme Court was poised to overturn the landmark Roe v. Wade decision. If this happens, the trigger law states will have these laws in place to automatically ban abortion in the trigger law states. Now I get this, because again, if you throw the word trigger in there, you automatically have a bias because these are the Bible-thumping, gun-toting individuals, as said by former President Barack Obama. You see how hate has to be constructed by all those conservative, pro-Second Amendment, pro-life, Bible-thumping, hating individuals. The bias, these are the biases you're looking for. Not drones, biases. The idea that we can twist the minds of the readers so that they automatically will come out with a conclusion before they even finish reading the story. We just hit them in the title that they understand. They understand what their angst, what their predispositions of hatred and disdain should be at, because we already lead them to the conclusion before they read any of the article. And we start off the article with zero factual information, but completely inundate them with talking points that will lead the less informed. I'm sorry. When you could be so easily moved by disruption and distortion and distraction and disinformation, you're not only less informed, you're artificially intelligent. Or I don't care what kind of degree you have. I don't care if you have a liberal arts degree. I don't care what kind of degree you have. If you're biased to not hearing all the facts and you made your conclusion before you come to the end of the story, this is very interesting. They then analyze the first page of results for each search, encompassing paid search results, organic results, and results in the maps and news and video functions that appeared on the main search page. They found that 11% of general results led to anti-abortion fake clinics, including 37% of Google Maps results. 11%? That's 1 in 10. But the way that they post this out, they make it seem like, yeah, because most people probably wouldn't get down to that number. And even the 1 in 3, even the one, just more than 1 in 3 are Google Map results. It's a pro-choice organization have warned that these quote-unquote anti-abortion fake clinics claim to offer impartial service, but in reality aim to dissuade individuals from having abortions or shame abortion care. They're not there. See, and this is the thing about it is it's interesting. Anti-abortion, but you can't be anti-life. How is it that, I mean, literally, when you look at the terms, the bias is already there. You can't be pro-life. You have to be anti-abortion. Well, why don't we make it that you're not pro-choice, but you're anti-life? You're anti-life. But you see how the bias is already worked in there, that we have no room for good dialogue or discussion because the bias is already there. And it leads you to the end of the conversation. That's the reason why in order for us to have an intelligent conversation with individuals that we may not agree with, the first thing that we have to do is we have to identify those trigger words that would insult both parties and try and find those neutral terms that does not cause offense, if it's even at all possible. But that's the problem, though, is that you'll run into situations where there are words, I'm sorry, there's no way to describe abortion apart from death. There's no way of defining abortion apart from murder. You're extinguishing the life of a child in the womb. Call it zygote, call it whatever you want, but it is a life in the womb. So then there's just no way that you can really have a healthy discussion. So in other words, it's best to sometimes just back away and just pray. Curtis says his basket weaving degree is awesome. Yeah, remember, it's underwater basket weaving degree. Hi, Trisha. Thank you for being part of the program. It's the underwater basket weaving degree. Come on, get it straight, man. But I just love, hello, Melissa, thank you for being part of the program. You know, as we sit here and we watch this thing and we're trying to make sense, it's like, okay, so there's this clear bias that does not offer any room for any kind of healthy conversation. And I saw this, and it leads people automatically assuming that this is going to, now here's one, which one should I do? I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do, yeah, because there's some assumptions that are just being made on this. Okay, these from the intelligent people. Let's go to this one here, but this is another hilarious one. Randy Neanderthal may be to blame for the gene that caused up to 1 million people to die from COVID. This is on the Daily Mail. A single amorous Neanderthal may be to blame for transmitting a genetic quirk to up to 1 million people who died from COVID. Oh my goodness. This is just too sticking hilarious. To date, worldwide, there are around 6.3 million people have died from which caused the pandemic. A huge number have lost their lives because they have a relatively common genetic quirk which makes the lungs more susceptible to infection. Now, the expert whose research identified the effect of the genetic difference on the lungs has said it came from just one single romantic liaison between a Neanderthal and a member of our own human species. Had this one sexual act not happened 60,000 years ago, many lives would have been saved from the deadly virus. I mean, seriously. We're basically saying that it's a horny Neanderthal that caused all the deaths of COVID. A Neanderthal booty call is what caused all the deaths. Wow. I mean, there are just no words. There are just no words for this. I am just at a loss. I don't know about you, but for me, this one takes the cake. This one takes the cake. I am completely at a loss for this one because this is yeah. And Curtis says, and the discovery of fire linked to climate change. That's good, Curtis. That's good. See, there is zero factual evidence for this. But these are the scientists, because the scientists came up with this. And you remember what they said? We must trust the science. There is zero factual evidence for this. But for us who believe that the Earth is about 6,000 to 10,000 years old, for those of us who believe that God created the heavens and the earth, and and it takes 6 days to create everything, including a man. Oh, we're crazy Christian fanatics. We're insane. I'm like, what? I mean, how in the world can you say this? How in the world can you insult us, basically saying that we lack the intelligence to do this? But these are the people who are the scientists. And I'm telling you that a lot of this insanity makes its way towards something far more sinister. And again, it's going to be back to my conversation with my wife yesterday, that it hit me as to why, literally, I think that I can. There are a series of movies that I will give you the names of them when we come back from the break, which starts in a few minutes here, that will really help you understand. I'm driving the point home. And again, if you have not watched the series A Person of Interest with Jim Caviezel, you have literally, I'm telling you, in 5 seasons, the answer to why it is that everything that has happened in the last 10 to 20 years has been because of this, where I'm leading with this, on the whole issue of artificially intelligent news. Yeah. Amy says me and 23 says I'm 64% of people with Neanderthal gene. Now I'm targeted. LOL. Yeah. I couldn't do the 23andMe, and I couldn't do the registered DNA or whatever it is, Ancestry DNA, because of the fact that again, you need to watch. You need to watch Person of Interest, Season 5, Episode 8. Person of Interest, Season 5, Episode 8. I'm gonna buy the DVDs so that we own this, and we can sit down and we can watch this again, because everything you need to know it's artificially intelligent news, and there is a non-inclusive bias that's far more sinister than you ever could imagine. Let's do this. I'm gonna give you guys some extra time. We're gonna go to a break here, and then when we come back from the break, we'll continue this thing called the non-inclusive bias, artificially intelligent news. I'm your host, Watson, bringing from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio. I appreciate every last one of you. Talk to you on the flip side. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. Romans 10:14 through 17. How then will they call on him who they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah says, Lord, who has believed what he has heard from us? So faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old is passed away. Behold, the new has come. I share these passages with you because of the fact that we know John 3:16. We probably barely hear Romans 10:14 through 17. And most undoubtedly, we never hear 2 Corinthians 5:17. Life as a believer in Christ requires change. To make a decision for Christ, we recognize that there is something wrong in our lives and we need to do different. We need to be better, but we can't be better on our own strength. So we hear the gospel message, moved by the Spirit of God, and we respond. I ask you now, if you've heard the message, please respond and live for his glory. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson, pre-named from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio. I appreciate every last one of you as we sit here just talking about the non-inclusive bias, artificially intelligent news. I'm just one of the many hosts of Mojo5 Radio. Go to mojo50.com. When you're there are several buttons you can click. There's the donate button. If you're in a generous mood and you've paid off all your bills, you put your savings aside, look into donating. If you don't want to donate, like, I don't want to donate, but I want to check out their gear, there's a shop button. Check that out. If you want to understand the different shows that are available to you on this network, there's also the schedule button, however you pronounce it, that tells you all the different shows that are available to you on this amazing network. Debbie Burke says, I really enjoyed Person of Interest. Eye-opening. Oh my goodness, eye-opening. This series was eye-opening, and there's another series, and I'm trying to get a decent DVD of it, and it was also another, well, Person of Interest, I believe, was a CBS special, but there was another NBC special that we really enjoyed, and that was Revolution. Revolution was a really good one. Didn't realize how long it went, but trying to see if I could find some good DVDs of the Revolution series, because it was really, really good. I think, really speaking of a lot of different things that we're going to be going into here shortly as well. But you can't go wrong. And Amy, if you pay attention, I replied to your question. I gave you a link to the DVDs you can buy for $73 or $75 on Amazon if you want to get the five DVD series. Trust me, you can't go wrong. Be very, 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 very eye-opening, and especially, all I'm saying is strap in, have Conrad strap you into the chair while you're drinking your American Pride Roasters coffee, having it fed into you intravenously as you watch season 5 episode 8 to understand why you never should have given your DNA. And that's why I'm saying have Conrad strap you in, because it's going to be revealing. Holy moly guacamole. I'm serious. Folks, the last 2 years is summed up in that one episode. Okay? There's no other 50 minutes of viewership that's going to explain the last 2 years and what's to come next than that. You'll really love it. You'll really love it. So, yeah, you definitely gonna want Conrad to strap you in, baby, because it's gonna be something else. So just look at some more of these articles. Forgive me. Oh yeah, here's what I thought was really funny in reference to the non-inclusive bias, because I kind of alluded to this earlier. Again, another Daily Mail thing. Firms who value diversity because it improves, quote unquote, improves bottom line, put diverse candidates off of applying. Companies tend to value diversity for two main reasons, according to the researchers. One, there's a business case. Reasons include we have diversity because it will help us better serve our customers and improve our bottom line. In contrast, fairness case reasons include we value diversity because it's the right thing to do. In the study, the researchers set out to explore how these two reasons affect applicants' impressions of what it would be like to work at a company. In the study, the researchers set out to explore how these two, The team gathered online diversity statements from every company on a Fortune 500 list, and it'd be interesting to see what they said about my company, and used AI to analyze. Used AI to analyze whether the statements focused on more on business cases or fairness cases for diversity. The results revealed that 80% of the companies offered a business case justification, while less than 5% offered a fairness case justification. Meanwhile, 15% made no public diversity statements or didn't offer any justification at all. Now, here's the kicker. Next, the researchers conducted 5 online experiments in which they asked 3 groups of job seekers: LGBTQ professionals, female STEM job seekers, and black students, to read diversity statements from fictional companies and answer questions on how much they would want to work there. The results revealed among all 3 groups, participants said that they'd prefer to work for businesses who had a fairness-based statements than those with business case diversity statements. Delving deeper into the findings, the researchers found that one explanation for why businesses' justification case put diverse participants off was that it increased their concern of being judged based solely on their identity. So basically, when we push the affirmative actions, how many of us, there are times that I sit here and I wonder, was I hired because of the color of my skin more so than my talent? Was I hired because of the color of my skin more so than my talent? And I'm not going to lie to you, it sticks in the back of my head for a long time. I appreciate working I've got the best coworkers. I have the best coworkers. All 3 of them are Negroly challenged, and they offer a lot, and it really helps me. It's just very interesting. It's very interesting. I appreciate them, but I'm not gonna lie to you. There are many times I sit there wondering, am I here because of the color of my skin? And that's not good. To ever have to wonder that, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. But these are the things that they're saying that we need to worry about because of it's the bottom line that matters. That's the worst reason to do it. And again, the bottom line is what's been driving a lot of the failures today. Let me get into this whole idea of just Okay, so artificially intelligent news is the concept that if I keep artificially intelligent news basically says if I keep stuff on my shelves and I keep staring at it as dust collects up on it, I'm losing money. But what do you do when the economy is so bad that the clients that you're seeking to try and purchase your stuff don't have the money to buy it because of the fact that we have government spending way too much money and overtaxing the businesses that have no way of staying afloat or making any kind of profit margin? What do we do when we turn around and we basically now put down laws that really restrict a business's successful growth, and we basically have a whole lot of litigation against companies because of the fact that maybe unqualified black people are not promoted, but they basically take it out to be a racist thing in nature? That all you have to do is just read one email wrong, read one statement wrong, and all of a sudden a company has to pay millions of dollars. Meanwhile, maybe there were zero black candidates or female candidates or LGBT candidates that were qualified for the job. That unfortunately in our progressively white privileged society, that none of those individuals were given the opportunity to sit in a position where they can get the training to understand how to lead or successfully make the company clockwork tick correctly. But instead of basically saying, let's get them into the training that they need, let's just slap them in a position and give them and ignore what allegedly centuries of bias against their ability to formulate in their minds the ability to understand the truth, reason out, and make well-informed decisions. We're going to leave them unprepared and put them in this thing. So, you know what? No, that makes matters worse. That affects the bottom line. That affects the bottom line, putting unqualified people in the position. But artificially intelligent news says, well, let's just put these people in the position. Let's farm out our businesses. Let's contract out our businesses. Let's keep our shelves clear. And now we have supply chain issues because no one wanted to keep anything on their shelves. Well, we don't need all those parts in here. We'll just contract out. Yeah, we see how that's working. We see how that's happening. But this whole idea of diversity, I know people are getting tired of it. They're tired of having this stuff slapped in their face. It's annoying, and people want it to come to an end. They're tired of it. They really are. Oh, Lord Jesus. Daily Mail, Donald Trump planning to launch 2024 presidential campaign in Florida to scupper any designs rising GOP star Governor Ron DeSantis may have on a White House run. Lord, please tell me that's not the case. It's good to know that there are a lot of Democrats right now who are saying that Trump shouldn't run. Biden shouldn't run. And we need more people to say that Trump shouldn't run. He's too old. He's too volatile. Folks, we don't need Trump running for office. You want to talk about artificially intelligent? Yeah, did he get some things done during his administration? Yes, he did. He voted, he signed signature tax reform laws, and we really appreciate every last one of them. One of the things he did do that I agree is pulling us out of the Paris Climate Accord. That was the best decision that he could do. But he also signed also $7 billion, $7 trillion in spending in 4 years. Let us not forget that. This is just really not. Yeah. What is it? The Fed's naivete or arrogance toward inflation led to the runaway price increases Americans now have to pay. Top UK economist says consumer price index could reach 9%, he predicts. Of course, it's going to hit 9%. This is the hubris. Again, all these different models that we say that we should follow, these business models that we should follow. A lot of businesses are failing because of the fact that you know, yeah. Let's actually move away from. I want to do two more here. I want to do two more before I get into the reason why I titled what I did. Um, Interesting. Arizona pipeline fire sparks more mass evacuations with 5,000 acres alight near Flagstaff as police arrest man 57 seen leaving the area in a pickup truck after the blaze started. A pipeline fire. See, you remember when they were basically saying these trigger states, the anti-abortion people? Every last one of the challenges that we're facing is because of artificially intelligent people who are biased and predisposed to climate change, eco-friendly, pro-choice insanity, and equity, are willing to destroy any chance of anyone to succeed. This pre-programmed people, holy moly guacamole. Let's get into this thing, and we're going to spend some time actually talking about this. So, this is the big one. Exclusive. Intensely worried people are going to be afraid of it. It's intensely worried people are going to be afraid of it. Suspended Google engineer reveals sentient AI told him it has emotions and wants engineers to ask permission before doing experiments on it. Blake Lemoine, 41, a senior software engineer at Google, has been testing Google's artificial intelligence called Lambda, MDA, or Lambda. You actually have following hours of conversation with the AI, Lemoine came away with the perception that the Lambda was sentient. After presenting his findings, here it is. After presenting his findings to the company bosses, Google disagreed with him. Lemoine then decided to share his conversations with the tool online. He was put on paid leave by Google on Monday for violating confidentiality. Google was right in basically putting him on paid leave because of, I'm sorry, intellectual property is something that needs to be respected. Were we going to find out? We already knew that the sentient beings were already there. I'm sorry. The sentient beings are in every home that has Siri running, that has Google running, that has Alexa running, that has any, what's the other one? The Ring. We literally have AIs connected to every system that's data mining. We have AIs connected to every listening device that you have running. Google, turn off my foyer lights. Google, turn on this. Google, turn on that. Amazon, buy this. Alexa, buy that. I mean, we literally we've programmed our lives that we have every one of these devices. What is that Apple device that you could tag wherever you go, the Apple tag or whatever it's called? That can tag you. We have GPS. Our phones have GPS. We literally are setting up the biggest wired AI system possible. Let's get back to person of interest. Let me set the stage for you so you understand what the person of interest is. The first season is about this idea of there's an AI created that basically will give Jim Caviezel and its creator a phone number or a social security number of an individual in the beginning of the show. They spend the rest of the show determining whether or not the person who has the social security number that they've received is the potential victim or the perpetrator of a crime. And so this AI is more benevolent and proactive in trying to, it's kind of like a 5-season version of Minority Report, but better. And Taraji P. Jensen was in this. She had a great role in the movie, I think, in the TV series. And then she moved on to, I believe it was Empire. Very interesting story. Well, another AI is introduced a few seasons in, and I'm not going to lie to you. The second AI is exactly what this Lambda situation will become. See, the reason why, as I sat there and I talked to my wife about this idea of the concerns that we should have for our AIs and why we're coming to this situation, the last 10 years, even specifically the last 2 years. Again, look at season 5, episode 8. By turning around, see, everybody wants to be angry at Dr. Fauci. Everybody wants to be angry at Anthony Fauci right now because of the decisions that he's made. Everybody wants to be mad at Joe Biden because of the decisions that he has made with respect to lockdowns, restrictions, sending government agencies after the people who don't want to be compliant. They are not the reason to blame. Lambda is, or its predecessor, or whatever is currently operating that's directing our government. Can you say Skynet? Can you say every other entity? Because the reason why this happens is because we're depending on AI to make these decisions, and humanity is leaning on AI to make the decision. That's the reason why I say artificially intelligent news, is because of the fact that if we put AI in control of making the decisions, then there's no moral decision being made because the decision is considered non-bias. It is the highest computational value that yields the best result for humanity and society to succeed and survive. So if you leave the decision makings in the hands of a computer that have artificial intelligence, you basically remove any quote unquote moral or ethical obligations of those who are executing the rules and plans of said artificial intelligence system. Do you see? Do you understand that the reason why we go with this route and everybody keeps feeding into this? When you look online, it says, "I bet you if you don't love Jesus if you don't share this. You're not American enough if you don't plaster this the American flag, Old Glory, all over your timelines. You don't love your neighbor if you don't do this. You know, all these or follow this, follow Wordle, follow Sudoku, follow whatever it is that's the going trend, and the AI continues to identify the people who don't want to follow. There's a huge database of those individuals who don't want to follow. Thanks, Lep, for joining the other half of Ain't You a Peach. So the reason why they do this is because of the fact that if you allow the AI to analyze with all the listening devices, with all the NVIDIA cards and AMD cards that are processing the data and churning out data, to basically give you regional access and understand of behavioral patterns and everything like that that's going on. We have created the system, we have created the means of AI 1 and AI 2 that would exist in the person of interest with all the listening devices that we have that's out there. And again, it's not humanity making the decision. Humanity is making the decision to follow what the AI says, that's where the moral decline happens, because no matter what an AI or a computer says, you still have the moral obligation to see your neighbor as yourself. I was looking at something the other day about the CDC reports of deaths from the Moderna vaccine, one of the vaccines. And literally, when you look at the CDC report, it says 10,000 out of 4 million people experienced death or extreme anaphylaxis reactions. And because of the fact that a lot of people will say, well, then that means that there's 3,990,000 people who didn't experience it because of such a low percentage of people who experienced negative reactions. I think it's a safe decision that we can apply this and we'll live with the collateral damage. You see that? Because if we turn around and we put it in a position where we have basically said that it's the artificial intelligence system making these decisions, us following it, we're just doing what the computer says that we need to do. This is the best, this is the highest yield outcome that we can follow. Season 5, Episode 8, Person of Interest. Person of Interest. Let's see. Look in the timeline again, Melissa, and you will see the comment. I guess it won't let me put it in twice. But look at Amy's question earlier, and I responded to it, and it gives you the 5 DVD series that you can watch. You can buy, own, keep it before you can't stream stuff online anymore. I'm serious. The reason why we're at this particular point right now is because of the fact that I bet you 75% of, at least 75% of the worst, I'm even going to go higher, 85% of some of the most horrific decisions that have been made, some of the most horrific legislation that has been passed in the last 20 years has been because of an AI dictating the directions of where we should go. We're leaving computers, we're leaving all the stuff involved in making the decisions for us in our lives. And it is really, really crazy. It is really crazy that this is where we are right now. But that's why. That we now have a system. See, now think about that. If it's sentient, it now has emotions, right? And if it has emotions, I mean, and I'm going to have to pull something out here from 8 p.m. You can catch them at 10 o'clock on Mojo 5 Radio, and that is Abnormal Realities. As they sit there and they talk about the paranormal. And if it's sentient being, why would it not be a figure that they figure out a way to encapsulate a demonic spirit inside of an artificial intelligence system that poses as a sweet, innocent individual? And there's going to be no greater intelligence that you can find than in the mind of a demonic being that has been around since the beginning of time, studying human nature, studying a wide variety of different things. Angelic beings are very, very intelligent. Demons are very deceptive, but angelic beings are very, very intelligent. They have a wealth of knowledge. They have a wealth of knowledge and an ability to manipulate the data to work in their favor. But a sentient being that's artificially intelligent is the best way that people can justify some of the most horrible decisions that they've been made. I'm telling you, 85% of the most horrible decisions that have been made in the last 10 years, I would say, have been because of the fact that they were following the direction of a sentient being that was artificially intelligent. Take care, Linda. Be safe. Almost every show has been prophetic. True, Kathy. Almost every show has been prophetic. Folks, there's just no way around this. Here it is. This is what I need you to understand. It's time to buckle down. It's time to buckle down. Listen, I know you want to go entertain yourself. I know you want to go have fun. I know you want to experience a lot of different things. But I believe that the reason why we're dealing with inflation right now, not just because of poor stewardship or poor administration from this administration, but I believe that God is trying to tell us to chill out and save our money because the worst is yet to come. If you haven't figured out how to do vertical gardening, if you haven't figured out a way to figure out other ways of manufacturing or growing your own food supplies, you need to learn how to do this. I told you about the Civil Defense Manual by Jack Lawson. You look up Civil Defense Manual. There are two. I'll show. I was talking to my wife about it yesterday. I'll try and mention them again this week so that you can have a list and a link of where you need to get it. You can't go wrong picking it up. Civil Defense Manual. If probably not going to be as effective as you need fighting against an AI machine, but hey, folks, it's getting to that point at that time. If you want to spend your time being entertained, so be it. But those theme parks, those vacation areas aren't going to do anything for you. And it'll be a wonderful memory while you're starving to death. Staycation is going to be the best thing that you can do to prevent you from dying of starvation. This is the best way I can say it. A staycation is the best way for you to not die of starvation. And that's not artificially intelligent news. It's the fact, and it's the truth. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo's up next. I'm your host, Watson, for Battle for Freedom.